$100 million leads is here, 2 years of work, the full training, hours long, it's here, enjoy. Welcome everyone to $100 million Leads, the training. All right, so I've spent the last 2 years pouring everything I know and being absolutely secretive about the stuff that I'm gonna share with you in this training today. And the whole point of this and acquisition.com is to make real business knowledge accessible to everyone. And that's why all the stuff we do is free at cost so that hopefully more businesses grow and do more good stuff in the world, and then we'll feel nice and warm and fuzzy. And occasionally one of you guys will crush it and be like, yo, acquisition.com, could you invest in our business? And we'd say, yes, we love you. That being said, if you are a company and you're trying to get more sales, make more monies, the first part of that, the leading indicator of that is the leads, right? Is who are you gonna sell it to? Right, and so this whole training is tactically everything that I've done to scale all the companies we have in acquisition.com and the companies that Layla and I started, scaled, and then sold. This is gonna go from the clouds all the way to the nitty gritty. And if you have teams of people, have them watch this. And at the very least, before you go buy something on the internet, try this first, execute all these things, and then it'll at least give you a baseline to know what you can do. But I can tell you that the stuff that's in here, I have left nothing out. This is far more in depth than I was able to put inside of the book because the book only has so many pages, otherwise it'd be this long and no one could read it. And so we go way deeper on this stuff so that you guys can make more money. All right, rocking. So this is our agenda for the day. So we're gonna go through the start here section, the core 4, lead getters and execution. That is our journey that we'll be going on together. So buckle up. And so let's start with context. So, big picture, the purpose, quick story, and then what we're gonna go for today, all right? So, where this fits in kind of like the Mosey verse is the first book I had was $100 Million Offers, which is, what do I sell, right? A lot of people are like, I wanna start a business, what do I sell? Or if you already have a business, how do I make the thing that I have more valuable so that people wanna buy it more and will pay me more money for it? That's what Offers answered. Now, the next question that comes up after you know what you're gonna sell is, well, okay, who do I sell it to? And that's where $100 Million Leads comes in, all right? So, leads come first. Lots of leads makes it very hard to be poor. If you have tons of them, then you can mess up many, many times in your career and still have more leads. And so having this one skill is one of those like biggest business insurance things you can possibly do in your business. Because when you have this, you can never go hungry again, all right? And so the problem is, and if you're watching this, you know that leads don't magically appear, right? The solution is that you have to force them to find you. And so we do that through advertising. And to define advertising for everyone, it is the process of making known, and ideally to people who don't know us yet. That's the purpose. Quick story to give you a little bit of context. So December 20th of 2016, I had $1,000 in my bank account because I just lost everything. And I remember screenshotting this because I was like, this will be a story that I will someday tell. And so many of you guys are probably going through some moment or your version of your Rocky cutscene right now, and you may have this version of this for yourself. And I only show this to say that like one of the biggest mistakes I made is I didn't document enough of my losses early on. And so if you assume that you're gonna win, then document the losses now. The quick story behind this is that way back when I lost all this money, and I just had my wife tell her 6 friends, and we weren't even married yet, to quit all their jobs to start this new business with me. And we had $100,000 that was supposed to come in, that we had done all these sales for, and it didn't, the money never came. And so I call the payment processor up, I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they say, you know what, we've seen some irregular activity, we're gonna hold on to the money. It was very heartbreaking for me. And so what happened then, after that whole story, which I told in the first book, we ended up figuring it out. We ended up launching gyms, getting some payment processors going, some new guys, and things started looking up. I'm sitting there feeling like king of the world, like I conquered death. I skated near the bottom, and then I like came back like a phoenix. And then Layla taps me on the shoulder, and she says, hey, we have a problem. And I was like, how could we have problems? Like we already finished that. She's like, look, and she turned her computer towards me, and it was just all of these $500 transactions, and my rent was like $1,000. So like every other one of these was bigger than my rent, and I just felt like this massive knot in my stomach. I was like, fuck, what are we gonna do? And what had happened is the gyms that we were launching, so this is when we were flying out to gyms, doing turnarounds, is that one of the gym owners had gotten up on his chair and told all of the clients at the gym that they should refund with us and sign up through him for half the price, even though we had spent all the money to fly the guys out there, pay for the hotels, pay for the ad spend, pay for the commissions, the per diems for food, rental car, all that stuff. We had covered all that cost and launched and filled someone's gym, and they had done that. And you know what? It was shame on me for putting an incentive that was so big for somebody who like probably had a lot of tough times in front of them, which is why they were calling us. And so I learned that lesson. But that being said, for me, I was also pretty poor at that time, and I really needed that money. And I didn't really know what to do. And so that's what the guy did. There's my little refund or chargeback, right? I'll do it for half price. And so that amounted to $150,000 of refunds in like a week. And I had to come up with that in 30 days, or I was going to go. I don't know what would have happened. I've never even played it out. But I had to make $150,000 in profit, and I never made that in profit in a month, ever, even close to that. So I'm like, racking my mind. I'm panicking. I'm like, here's my best bad ideas. I was like, all right, I'll charge up front, fees for gym launches. I'll ask for a percentage of revenue from old gyms. Like maybe I'll upsell supplements. Maybe I'll get old gyms to prepay for future launches. Like I'm just doing anything I can think of to try and think of how am I gonna make 150 grand in a month. And no matter what I did, I penciled it out. I was like, it's not gonna be enough, right? Not profit. And so Layla sits down, she pulls up her laptop and drinks a cup of coffee and she starts working. And I was like, wait, what are you doing? She was like, well, I'm working on my fitness business. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? And just for side note, she transitioned her in-person fitness clients to online as soon as she started traveling around the country with me. And so she had maintained like $3,000 or $4,000 a month, kind of servicing all of her personal training clients just online. And so I was like, hey, how's that online fitness business going? And she got defensive because she was like, because we were so on edge at this point, I was probably attacking her at all times. And she was like, hey, it pays our bills. And to be fair, it was like, that's how food was, like Layla was putting food on the table. She was like, why are you asking? I was like, well, what if we made that the business? And she was like, okay. I was like, yeah, like I could run the ads, we could sell fitness stuff straight to the consumer, cut the gym owner out, and we could start making money doing this. And you could be the face and I'll be the back, like be the back end. And she was like, okay, I guess we can give it a shot. And so for the next 48 hours, I didn't sleep, wrote the best sales letter of my entire life, started running ads to the sales letter to get scheduled calls. And within 14 days, we're doing $1,000 a day online. And this was actually one of the first sales. I remember taking a picture because it was like this momentous, it's actually a video, I screenshotted the picture, of her closing this down. She was writing down the credit card for this deal. And I was like, oh my God, like this is working. And so I was like, wait, we've got 8 sales guys in the field. If we get all those 8 guys in, you're doing 1,000 a day, we could do 8,000 a day, 30 days to 240 grand. After commissions and ad spend, we could probably be close to 150. Like we could get out of this. And so I got really excited about it. And so at lunch, I was like, all right, I'm gonna call up the gym owners and say, hey, we're not gonna be doing this anymore. And so I called the first guy up because we had 8 launches that were supposed to launch the next month. I was like, hey man, we're not doing this, right? And he says, dude, I still need help. Like you launched one of my buddy's gyms, and apparently one of his buddies was one of the non, shitty gym owners. And he was like, dude, you crushed it for him. Like, I know you can do this and I need this. I just maxed out my credit cards and I refinanced my house to keep my gym going. I was so like beat up at this point that I was like, dude, I'm not flying out there. And he's like, okay, well, what do I need to do? And so I was like, all right, well, how about this? I'll show you how to do it. I was like, but I'm not going to fly out there to save your ass if you can't close. He was like, no, that's fine. I just need leads, man. I was like, okay, common theme. I just need leads. He's like, well, how much? And I said, for me, the highest number I could think of at the time, which was $6,000. Like I said it, a number so high, I wanted him to say no so I could get off the phone to do the thing that we thought was actually working. And guy just says, done. And I just like stared at the phone. And I was like, holy shit. I just closed $6,000. Like it was like mind blowing. I never closed anything close to that. And I was like, damn. And so Layla comes back in, my mind's blown. And I was like, babe, I just closed $6,000. And she was like, what? She's like, I thought we were selling weight loss. Like, what are you talking about? Like that was the whole, you just sold me on this other plan. And I was like, yeah. But I think this is the plan. I said, I think we're still in the gym business. I think we're just doing it wrong. And so I took the next 7 calls because we had 8 that were supposed to launch the next month. So that was the first call. Took the next call, same conversation, how much? And I was like, $8,000. He was like, done. I was like, holy shit. Next call, same conversation, how much? And I was like, $10,000. He was like, done. And by that end of that day, I'd done $60,000 in collected sales. And it was more money than I ever made in my entire life. And I was like, holy shit, what just happened? And, that night I'm like unwinding and she's like, so is this what we're going to do? I was like, shit, I guess so. We had some value here. I was like, we didn't have the model right. And so, there you go. There's my 6,000. And so I made $60,000 in cash, right, in one day. And, Then she was like, well, what are you going to do now? How are we going to get more gyms? And I was like, well, we launched 30 plus gyms. I can go call all those guys up and see if they want it. And sure enough, we had already launched and filled their gyms. And I was like, hey, you know that thing I did to get to 200 customers in a month? They're like, yeah, screw you for taking so much money out of my gym. I was like, okay, what if you got to keep the money and I'll just show you how to do it? And they were like, cool. And so it was a wild ride. And the next, we ended up doing $215,000 in cash collected, and I didn't have any delivery. And that covered my $150,000 in refunds. And I was not broke. Great success. And so during my come up, I advertised to get, if you're tracking the actual skills in that story, is that I knew how to run paid ads to get local weight loss leads for gyms. I knew how to get gym owner leads, which I did through referrals, paid ads, and outreach. I knew how to get supplement leads, which I did later through affiliates. I knew how to get agency leads through paid ads. And so a lot of different businesses I've had over time use different ways to advertise to get customers. And simply being able to, and you notice like the nosedives that happened over and over again in my career was because I was able to get customers on demand to try something new. Like it was just like, okay, we can do the online fitness thing, and it was boom, made an ad, started making sales. Hey, we're gonna get gym owners. Boom, we can do referrals and we can do paid out and do outreach, which is what I did in the beginning to get those first sales. Like all of these things are different methods of advertising, and that's what we're gonna be talking about in this thing. And my hope is that I can transfer that skill to you so that you can have a get out of jail free card, because right now mine is faded and worn out at the edges of how many times I've used it. All right, so there you go. So in short, my ability to get leads gave me endless chances to get it right. All right, and so advertising is the endless chances to try it again. So that's the quick story. Now, just to give you context today, if you're new to us, the first year of gym launch, we did 6.8 million, and that was the first year of when we transitioned from the terrible thing at the beginning of the year to the thing that started working at the end of the year. We ended up with 6.8 and 3 million in profit. Year 2, we did 25.9 million and 17 million in profit. Year 3, we did 37 with 13 million in profit. We started Prestige Labs, our supplement company. Year 4, we did 32 million with 7 million in profit. That was COVID. And then we also bought minority interest in 3 companies during that year. Part of that was just because I needed to take my mind off of like the gym industry, which was like burning in front of my eyes, and everything that I had built over the last decade. And then year 5, I can't tell you what we did in numbers, but we sold 66% of both those businesses at 46.2 million, and we sold Allen, the software company, as well. And so over that time period, we did over 100 million in sales. And year 6, we got acquisition.com. We bought 10 more companies, which now cumulative revenue is over 200 million a year. That's the trajectory. That's where we're at. All right. And so I say that stuff, and you might be like, okay, all this stuff is fancy smancy, but I have lots of flaws, made lots of mistakes. I'd like to share the skill with you though. I can show you how to get more leads. So that's the context.